Hello guys and welcome to my new video. So today I decided to do a video about my Holy Paladin. This is going to be my initial thoughts about Paladin healing. There's probably going to be a lot of things that are wrong, not optimal, but I wanted to make a video just to showcase to some of the people who are looking into playing a Holy Paladin and maybe they're shifting from resto druid into Holy Paladin. That's probably going to be the most optimal comparison. But this video should be based for basically anyone who is looking into getting more information about what Holy Paladin is about. And like I said, not everything's gonna be 100% correct, just from my own personal opinion. Basically, I'm coming from resto druid perspective. So Holy Paladin healing, I feel, is actually quite interesting. It's way different than what resto druid healing is all about. There's not really HOTS. There is no really HOTS that are available for Holy Paladin. Holy Paladin by itself is quite immobile. You only have the Divine Steed, which is like a 45-second cooldown, which is kind of similar to the Displacer Beast, but as a druid you also have kitty form. So I feel Holy Paladin is actually quite slow if you're coming from a druid perspective. That was probably one of the biggest issues. Another big issue is that every time you're actually going to be healing, you have to get used to actually going to that melee. You have to actually get used to that. I'm actually always standing back and I'm healing from afar, just because I've been doing that all the time. And I mean, doing a couple of bosses in Tomb of Sargeras as a Holy Paladin, I'm like, oh my god, the fight is completely different because I actually have to go to melee, and the perspective is a lot different. There's a lot of different things to dodge and things like that. So some bosses are safer, some bosses are more difficult from melee perspective. Of course, this is not always the truth because you can swap around talents, but this is the general idea. Now, like I said, Holy Paladin is very direct healing when compared to resto druid. You have Holy Shock, which I think is awesome. This is something like a really good instant heal ability, which I think is amazing to have on such a short cooldown, because I'm used to having Swiftman, which is 30 seconds. So I really like having a really strong instant heal ability that has an amazing synergy with everything, with all the other Holy Paladin spells. Like, for example, if you crit, you get a more powerful Flash of Light, or you get a faster Holy Light. So that's your bread and butter: Holy Shock, Flash of Light, and Holy Light. So you kind of have to get used to these direct heals. Some of them are slow, some of them are fast, but this is basically the majority of your healing. Everything else is like, you have Light of Dawn, which is the equivalent of your AoE heal, which is around 11-second cooldown, or at least for me. But you have to be standing very close. It's an instant AoE ability, which is kind of cool, because if you're used to like things like Chain Heal, if you're used to Wild Growth, it takes a little ramp up, while Light of Dawn, boom, it's right there. It also applies a healing buff to players, so and it has a lot of synergy with tier 20. So it becomes quite fun to actually use it. Like I said, if you also get C-Star the Death Mother for your Holy Paladin, that's like one of the best trinkets you can have. It procs off your Light of Dawn, which makes your Light of Dawn even more powerful. So like I said, Holy Shock, and then you either Flash of Light or Holy Light. So this is way different to what the resto druid is all about. And I wanted to mention that Holy Paladin seems to be a lot of the burst, or majority of the Holy Paladin heal seems to be coming from proper cooldown usage. So Holy Paladin actually has a lot of cooldowns to keep track of. A lot of cooldowns. A lot more than a resto druid will ever have. Like, I mean, right now I have 4 cooldowns. If you don't include my Beacon of Virtue, and if you don't include my Rule of Law. I tend to pick Holy Avenger, Sanctified Wrath, which is a lot of the Holy Paladins seem to do, at least in 5-mans. In raids, they seem to go Judgment of Light. But with this amount of cooldowns, you have to keep in mind that these cooldowns are actually quite short. Holy Avenger is 1.5 minutes. Avenging Wrath is 2 minutes long. Aura Mastery, which is basically going to be your Tranquility or AoE heal ability. Something along the lines of Healing Tide for Shamans and Divine Hymn for Holy Priest. This is, you have Aura Mastery, which again is 3 minutes, and you can choose what your Aura Mastery does based on the situation you're in, which is cool. Because think about it, if you could change your Trank to do something else. You can't really do that, but with Holy Paladin you can change what your AoE heal does. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Like for example, for Firemans, you can choose Devotional, which is going to reduce the party's damage taken, or Sacrifice, which is basically going to heal up the people. That's basically it is. You're gonna pop it and for 8 seconds, which I have to check again, which is for 8 seconds, all your healing is replicated, so you just do massive amount of healing. So I think that's actually really nice concept. But like I said, cooldowns. So the only hot that you actually have is your artifact ability, which is Tears Deliverance, which is a cast time ability. And you can actually, there is multiple ways of playing Holy Paladin. You can actually buy into Tears Deliverance with your Holy Avenger, which is like a small heroism, which is increasing your haste by quite a lot, so you get to cast way faster. And it lasts for quite a long time. Some people bind it with Tears Deliverance and Holy Avenger, or some people just pop everything, Tears Deliverance, Holy Avenger, Wings, and your Aura Mastery, and you become this like billion heals in the next 8 seconds, and then after that even it drops down because your Aura Mastery drops down. But what you need to remember if you're going to play Holy Paladin, cooldown management is going to be huge, but because your cooldowns are a bit shorter than, let's say, like for the rest of Druids, you have Trank and you have Essence of Ganir, you kind of only have 2. Then you have Flourish. These are strong cooldowns. These are okay cooldowns. They can be quite good. They can be quite good if you bind them together or not. But for Holy Paladin, there's a lot of different ways of playing it. If you feel that there's going to be a massive amount of damage incoming, you can pop them all. If you want to kind of keep them longer, you can pop 2 cooldowns at a time, maybe 3 cooldowns at a time. You have to measure, or you have to feel for yourself, like, do I need to pop all my cooldowns, or do I need to pop 2? If I pop 2 here, is there going to be incoming damage in the next 1.5 minutes, so I have my Holy Avenger back, or my Wrath is going to be back in the next 2 minutes, and there's a big AoE incoming then. So the burst healing, it seems for me at least, most of the burst healing for Holy Paladin is coming from your cooldown usage, and cooldown usage is quite big. Now, another interesting part about Holy Paladins is that a lot of the talents are actually completely and perfectly viable. Like, I mean, you can go any of you can go any of this here. You can go any of the auras, but there are some specific ones which are much better for certain fights. You can go Divine Purpose. Like, there's so many. Judgment of Light seems to be the raid Holy Paladin choice. Beacons, all of these beacons, from reading some of the information about, are perfectly viable in raid scenario depending on a boss. So you're actually going to be swapping way more, considering for resto Druid, you only really have the Flourish for raid environment. While for Holy Paladin, you have way more choice. So that's why there's so many different builds for Holy Paladin. So it gives you more choice in that. There's a lot more cooldown management, that's for sure. You have to get used to the cooldown management. You have to get used to the slower heals. Like, I mean, I'm having a 1.4 minute flashy heal, and that's not gonna get faster. Like, I mean, with the crit of Holy Shock, my Holy Light becomes faster. But that's a lot of Holy Paladins swap from Flash Light to Holy Light. It depends. That's why Holy Paladin haste is not really that important. Besides having all of these nice cooldowns to keep track of, you also have to remember you have a lot of other cooldowns. You have things like Lay Your Hands, which is really nice to save your tank. You have things like Blessing of Sacrifice, which is equivalent to your tank cooldown like Iron Bark. You have Blessing of Protection, which could be like absolutely incredibly good in some situations. It could completely negate some of the mechanics, and it could be useless in some of the fights. So that's one of the reasons like Paladins are really good in Mythic Plus dungeons, because some abilities can be absolutely, like, think of it, I have a Shara last boss, where you get the AoE ability around you and you have to soak it with the whole group. You can just bop that person and they can get out of there and like 0 damage comes out. On high mythics, that's actually like so important. So you have to think about that as well. You have like things like Freedom, which also can be fully utilized if your frame showed when someone's in stunned and things like that. So there's a lot of I don't want to go too much into cooldowns, but you get used to cooldown management. You get used to the best order of using cooldowns, because that's really important as well. I'm not talking about, like, you have all of these cooldowns here. You also have to remember that if you get Valence, that's another cooldown you need to keep track of. But I think it's actually quite interesting to see. It gives you more. It places more emphasis on predicting damage. and at the same time you have incredible amount of single target healing. And I feel Light of Dawn is actually really fun to use as well, because it synergizes really well with tier 20. Of course, with tier 21 is going to change. And again, you gotta remember that you got the bubble. That's one of the most interesting mechanics, to be completely honest, that I didn't really cover, but I'm going to cover, just because purely you can completely ignore one mechanic every 5 minutes. You can completely ignore any boss mechanic in 5 minutes. So if you get like things like bombs on maidens and things like that, you can just say like, I don't want to jump down the tunnel, I don't care about it, I'm just gonna heal, I'm gonna pop my bubble, and I'm going to prevent from making any mistakes. So you have to keep in mind that you have this incredibly strong cooldown that gives you, that almost kind of can increase your healing a lot. Think of it in this way: if like your 2 healers or something gets picked out with the bombs and things like that, and you're saying like, oh, this is gonna take a lot of damage, I'm gonna pop my bubble and I'm gonna pop my cooldowns and actually heal everyone up while all my other healers are preoccupied. So that can actually save you a lot. You need to get used to using it. I feel that the Holy Paladin is the most fun in 5-man groups by far. I had incredible fun in 5-man groups. In raids it's pretty interesting, but I think I need to get used to some of the cooldown uses. So hopefully this was a decent first impression of what Holy Paladin is about. Of course, there's going to be a lot of there's probably a lot of things that I missed out and are not properly correct, but this is just my first impression on Holy Paladin and how it differs from my resto druid, and it probably is similar how it differs from resto shaman and other healers, because Holy Paladin is probably the strongest single target healer in the game right now. And I forgot to tell you, the bacons, you get 2 bacons if you want to choose. You get 2 bacons and it just heal, and you don't need to worry about anything. And you also got I actually completely forgot, you also got the Light of the Martyr, which is a no cooldown spell, which is probably it's a kind of spell that allows you to heal while moving. If you already use a holy shock and you have to move, you just press Light of the Martyr and you heal the person. You're going to take damage from the heal, but it's allowing you to do a bit more healing on the movement. So because movement is a big issue with Holy Paladins, but I feel that's another way of actually negating that issue. But like I said, I'm enjoying my Holy Paladin. Let me know if you are starting to level a Paladin, or if you are playing a Paladin. Let me know how you feel about playing. And I'll see you in my next video, guys.